Now believe me when I tell you, nothing hurts more than investing in time and effort to climb a ladder, only to realize once you're done that you have put the ladder on the wrong goal. You'll be shocked how often this happens in fitness in general and with keto specifically. There are so many things that you can do wrong, and sometimes even one of those things can be enough to destroy everything that you're doing right. That's why we're not going to waste any time today. It may be a long video, but I promise you, you will leave it having learned how to start keto the right way and how to have better and faster results than you're having right now. I'll also be sharing 3 secret tips that I've learned throughout the years that I just think are too awesome to be thrown right into a YouTube video. I'm very excited to be sharing these with you because I really believe they can change the game for you if you've learned about them and applied them properly. We're gonna first learn what to know before we get into keto, and then what to know as we're starting out with keto, and then what to do to speed up the results and become fat burning machines. You're gonna see timestamps on the screen right now, but I really believe you should watch this video in its entirety because there are a lot of tiny details that you might have missed before. Please allow me to hold your hand and walk you through them. Each of these 3 parts is going to consist of 8 tips. Let's start with part 1. First things first, what it takes to get into ketosis. Now, the first thing you have to know about keto is that it changes the fuel our body is running on from glucose to ketone bodies. Now, ketone bodies are extracted from fat, while glucose is extracted from sugar and carbs. But the thing is, our body can't use those ketones, can't extract them until there is no more sugar in the blood. And even then, it goes a step further and it has to empty the glycogen stores within our bodies. This means we have to stop eating fast digesting carbs that turn quickly into sugar. We call these high glycemic index foods, and then give our bodies the chance to get rid of those glycogen stores, which takes 2 to 7 days on average, after which we should be in ketosis, using the fat that we're consuming and the fat that we have stored in our bodies for energy. Now let's talk about the new normals. Let's start with fat. Lowering our carb intake to 5% and increasing our fat intake to 70% are the 2 biggest changes that we have to make to get into ketosis. You might be confused a little bit with the numbers at the beginning, but soon enough you'll learn exactly what this looks like for you, so you will be bothering yourself a lot less with these numbers. But what I have to address here so the picture is a bit clearer for you, this sounds like too much when we hear 70% fat. But it's not as you might think. This is because of the 4-4-9 rule. The 4-4-9 rule is what each of the macronutrients has in calories.
Each gram of carbs has 4 calories. Each gram of protein has 4 calories.
However, each gram of fat has 9 calories. This means fat has more than double the amount of calories in both carbs and protein. So it's a lot easier for us to get that much fat, or to put it in another way, it takes a lot less food. But on the other hand, it's still more than what most people are used to. Let's move to protein. Protein will be around 20 to 25% of your daily calories. As you can see, keto is moderate on the protein, especially since there are processes that take place in ketosis of recycling and reusing amino acids that come out of protein. This means that since we're reusing them, we need less than we used to before. This leads us to talk about gluconeogenesis. Now, I can't stress enough the importance of getting enough protein. So I don't want this to steer you the other way. But there's a scenario that can happen when you overeat protein. Like you really overeat protein to the extreme. A process can take place called gluconeogenesis, in which amino acids that comes from protein get turned into glucose. That glucose can be enough to kick you out of ketosis. However, as I said, this does not happen until you consume extremely large amount of protein. And the danger of not getting enough protein is a lot greater than that of gluconeogenesis. So just keep that at the back of your head. Let's talk about your family and friends. The people who are closest to you must know what you're trying to do. They must learn about the big change that you're about to make to your diet. It's something that you've never done before. They must understand that you want to give up sugar and other foods, so they just can respect it and help you with the transition instead of making it even harder for you. Let's move on to Keto Flu, the monster. This is one of the most important things that I'm going to tell you about today. Keto flu happens to most people in the first week of the keto transition that we have already talked about. And it's the most common reason that make people give up on keto way too early. But focus with me. There are 3 things that I know you will face at the first week of keto. You'll feel physically weak and tired to even move. You'll feel constipated, and you'll feel mentally tired and can't focus on anything. And you just crave sugar. Now, feeling physically weak is a sign of sodium deficiency. We're secreting large amounts of water and sodium in keto, so we have to compensate for that. The easiest way is to add salt. We add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt to a glass of water, a squeeze of lemon, drink it up. You'll feel a lot better very, very quickly. As for constipation, this happens because you are adding large amounts of fats and decreasing the amount of carbs that you were used to, which might have had a lot of fibers. So we have to also compensate for those fibers. That's why we're gonna eat a lot of broccoli, we're gonna eat a lot of kale. Pick any favorite vegetables that you have, you know is rich in fiber, and just eat a lot of it, especially at the start. And let me give you another thing. Don't count carbs in vegetables, especially at the start. Counting them will make you want to eat less because you want to save those carbs for your guilty pleasures. So don't count the carbs, so you eat as much as you need to. Number 3 is because of sugar craving. I'm gonna give you something that you're gonna love. Bulletproof coffee. But not any bulletproof coffee. Bulletproof coffee with one specific type of fat. You can prepare bulletproof coffee with butter, you can prepare it with ghee, you can prepare it with a wide variety of fats. But the one I really encourage you to add is MCT oil. What makes MCT oil so special, especially in this case, is that it has that quick effect of sugar. You have that quick boost of energy that, like when you eat something sugary, it's like 10 to 15 minutes and you're all energized. That's what happens when you eat MCT oil. Caffeine will also help you feel more awakened and focused. So MCT oil and coffee with some stevia maybe or erythritol is gonna go a long way. I can't stress these 3 tips enough. Not knowing about them are the most common reason people give up on keto at this phase. And just the fact that you now know about them and are prepared for them is going to save you so much time, so much frustration, and it's going to make the transition into keto way smoother. Let's now talk a bit about your future beyond keto. Now, let me assure you, keto is not a pill that you put inside your body, do for a month or 2, and then that magical pill stays in your body for the rest of your life, keeping all the results that you've had with keto. No, that's not gonna happen. As soon as you get back to your old habits, you will get back to your old body. I'm not suggesting that every one of you should do keto for the rest of your lives. I'm just saying that some things that change with keto, like reducing sugar, like reducing the times we're eating throughout the day, reducing snacking, a lot of things that we're going to talk about today should not be things that we try for a few weeks or a couple of months and then leave behind. These are things that have to stay with us, because the 2 reasons we're doing keto is that we don't like how we look and we don't like how we feel. So if you go back to your old habits, you're gonna go back to how you used to look and how you used to feel. You just have to know that before you start. People with kidney damage, people with diabetes type 1, people with risk of heart diseases, people with liver or pancreatic conditions, pregnant or nursing women, people who have had their gallbladder removed. Anyone with such a serious disease must consult their doctor before doing any change to their diet. Now, every one of you should consult their doctor before changing their diet, but those people, it's even more crucial for them to do so. So now let's go to the second part of this little chat that we're having. The following tips are especially important if you have already started doing keto, but you're not seeing the results that you should be seeing. There's still time to put yourself back on the right track so that when you move forward, you're actually making progress. So let's start with the things that you should know on day 1, or let's say day 0, as you're preparing for the diet. We have to eliminate all the seductions around us. Now, I don't want you to think about this as like I am imagining you have a weak willpower. It's not about that. It's not about willpower. It's about addiction. Not metaphorical addiction, literal addiction. We are literally addicted to sugar. Sugar is addictive, which means you will go through withdrawal symptoms. And if there is a chocolate bar, you're gonna eat it. That's why we're gonna remove that chocolate bar from the house. And if you don't believe this, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about a study that I'm gonna talk about in another video because it's really interesting. It's a study about sugar and mice. I'm not going to tell you about the one where they give mice 25% more sugar and the female mice die twice the normal ratio. I'm going to give you something a little bit more fun. And you don't need to know about those mice dying because you know how bad sugar is. That's why you've decided to take on keto. So guess what the mice who were deprived from sugar did? They got depressed. Now, they did not make the mice talk to a shrink. That's not how they figure out mice are depressed. They just observe what they used to do and what they're now are doing. Like how they used to run all day, play all day, just do all sorts of things. But now they're just stuck at the corner. They're just lying there, sleeping all day. Like this is real. The addiction of sugar is real. Don't underestimate it, and just like give your body the okay to be deprived from sugar and to work its way out of that addiction. But what you have to do is eliminate everything that has to do with sugar from the house, because if it's there, if that chocolate bar is there, you're gonna eat it. We're gonna remove everything that has to do with sugar from the house, and if you can't take that extreme of a step, then at least you should just remove the things that you know you reach out to when you have sugar cravings. Okay, so now we have removed the devil. What are we going to replace it with? Let's talk about filling our refrigerator. We're gonna fill the refrigerator with all kinds of dairy products except for milk. Like we're gonna put yogurt, we're gonna put cheese, butter. We can get milk, but it has to be plant-based milk like almond milk or coconut milk. These are great dairy alternatives. We're also gonna put some eggs. We're gonna put meat, chicken. Number 3, we're gonna head to the cabinet. We're gonna put some peanut butter, some almond butter, some sunseed butter. Like I should say, just nut and seed butters. These are really great things to have around so that when we have some cravings, when we're hungry, we can reach out for something healthy, delicious, and keto friendly. We're gonna also put some basic ingredients for things that we love. Like if we want to bake a keto friendly cake, we must know that there is a keto friendly version of like almost anything. We can have like coconut flour, we can have coconut milk. We should research some recipes that we know we want to try and have those ingredients ready for us when we actually want to try those out. This leads us to the big question of when should we eat? Now, I get this question a lot and I always have one answer. Don't eat if you're not hungry. All that we're trying to do with keto and intermittent fasting is to lower our insulin levels and our blood sugar levels to as low as possible. So imagine just going out and eat at noon because you're just used to eat lunch at that time. We should give our body the chance to get the energy it needs from its own fat cells. It should learn the process. So if it's trying to do that, why do we stop it? What common sense leads us to that? We shouldn't eat until we're hungry. But the previous 2 tips make it super easy and super convenient for us that when we're hungry, we have something to reach out for that is healthy, delicious, and keto friendly. Number 5, I have touched on a little bit before, but we're going to talk about now more. It's about replacing the things that our body is excreting. Now, our body is excreting mainly 3 things on keto: glycogen, water, electrolytes. Glycogen, we don't want to replace that. Water, it's very easy, but we have to drink a lot of water. We should aim at least for like 5 to 6 liters a day, especially at the beginning. Number 3 is electrolytes, and we have 3 electrolytes that we need the most: sodium, potassium, and magnesium. Now, sodium, we have talked about that earlier, and it's the easiest one of those. It's just adding some salt. Magnesium and potassium are both in nuts, seeds, leafy greens. Those of you eating healthy, like following a healthy version of keto with vegetables, with all the things that we talk about, you shouldn't worry about those. Now, the following one has to do with something that's heavenly. If you haven't learned about that, you're way behind. So just get on the train with us. You at least must have heard about them, if not already have tried them. These are sugar-free alternatives for sugar. These are the things that can make us satisfy our sweet tooth, not be deprived of dessert. Now, I don't believe there is ever a reason for us to go back to sugar once we have finally found these. Now, these are stevia, erythritol, xylitol. There are so many good alternatives, and each person likes one of them more than the other. Like, you might like stevia, find it perfect for every single thing, unless there is chocolate involved, unless there is cocoa powder involved. It gets bitter. So you might try then erythritol. You might find erythritol's texture is not, like, you have to do the experiment and realize what works best for you. Now, let me tell you this. Here's some little saucy tip for you. Keto is one of the diets that just people love to complicate. People want to create so much content around it, like articles, videos, YouTube videos. They just want to do so many things around it. They like run out of things to say, so they continue to complicate things, although it just should be dead simple. Keto becomes dead simple when you realize that it's just about 3 things. Get these 3 things right, and you are in ketosis, and you don't have to worry about anything else. There are so many nuances that can make the diet work better for you. I'm not ignoring those, but the industry is it's complicating the diet so much that people don't want to even try it anymore. It's just about fat, protein, vegetables. Find a source of fat that you love. It shouldn't be like one for every single meal and every single day, but it can be coconut oil, olive oil, ghee, butter, any cheese, any fat source that you love. Protein, like lean meats, chicken, red meat, eggs, even whey protein powder. Number 3 is vegetables. I really encourage you to go for leafy greens, but you can even have cauliflower, you can have spinach, you can have kale. Pick one. Make a meal of those 3 things, and that's it. Do that in every single meal, and you're into ketosis, and you're staying into ketosis, and you're losing weight. It's dead simple. Now, let's talk about your daily carbohydrate intake. Your daily carbohydrate intake should start with 20 grams. And your body can actually consume 20 carbs and still be in ketosis and still be tapping into these fats. But at first, we want to start with 20, not more, not less. Maybe like 20 to 30 at max. And then we will continue to go down as needed and as we will talk about in the next chapter. Like, honestly, do you know how many cups of coffee I needed just to get through this video? I can't go through with this with you, but it's like this video takes a lot of time to prepare, to produce, like all the things that I'm gonna do after I'm shooting in right now. I hope it's worth it. I hope you've gotten anything out of it, because this is where it gets fun in the next chapter. But I'm gonna invite you to click the like button down below if you've liked this video that you've been watching. Subscribe if you're not already. Hit the notification bell to get notified when I post all the future videos. And I'm gonna see you right now, the next chapter, which starts like now. Intermittent fasting can be applied as soon as you're comfortable with the other elements that are in your diet. I don't recommend starting it at day 1, right with keto, especially if you are coming from a bad nutrition diet that lasted for years. Wait until you're comfortable, and then you can add intermittent fasting to the mix. Now, once you're comfortable with the 16 by 8 pattern, the most usual pattern that people go with on intermittent fasting, then you can move up to 18 hours of fasting, then 20, and then you can maybe go to OMAD, maybe try it a couple of times a week and see how you're feeling. This is one of the best ways to get out of a plateau. Now let's talk about the best workouts we can do on keto. Although I'll tell you about one in specific that works best on keto, I want to mention that whatever workout that you love, that you're doing right now, that you're committed to right now, and you know you have commitment issues, then don't change it. Stay with that workout, stay committed to it. That's the best workout that you can do. One that you love and one that you can be consistent with. Now, if you're not working out, I really encourage you to start the HIIT workouts. HIIT workouts stand for high intensity interval training. Now, in this workout, you do intense, really hard workout for like a minute, and then you take the next minute to rest. But in that minute that you're working out, you're really pushing yourself to the limit, which is the reason this works so well for keto. You're spiking your growth hormone, which is the opposite of insulin. We always try to get insulin as low as possible and get growth hormone as high as possible. If you're consistent with it, it can really speed up your metabolism and lead to much more fat loss. Now let's talk about what we're gonna do with fat in this phase. At the beginning, we have added more fat to our diet to compensate for the lack of carbs. For example, we added MCT oil to our coffee in order for us to suffer less at the fat adaptation period. But now, if we want to burn fat more quickly, then we need to lower that fat intake. The reason for that is that we should be giving our body the chance to extract the energy that we need on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, extract ketone bodies from our fat cells instead of giving it on a silver platter. You end up seeing little to no results because the energy that your body is extracting is from the food that you're taking. So lowering your fat intake will force your body to go for your fat cells and thus burn more fat. Now, just like we adjusted our fat intake, we will also adjust our carb intake. We agreed that we will start with 20 grams of carbs. Some people now might say, I'm seeing great results. Like, I want to enjoy eating more foods and I play sport and I need carbs. I don't want to see results any faster. I just want to be more comfortable with the diet. But for faster results, we have to get that carb intake as low as humanly possible. The fewer carbs, the better results. That's what it comes down to. And for the best results possible, all of these carbs should be coming from vegetables. This leads us to the next tip, which is about sugar. Now, if we were actually consuming any amount of sugar since starting the keto journey, which I don't recommend by the way, now is the best time to eliminate it. The thing is, there is an alternative. Like, there is a way to eat sugar without eating sugar. Sugar meaning something sweet. We can have sweet things without eating sugar. Now, we will have to sacrifice either some time or some money to prepare or buy those alternatives that either take more time because we're preparing something new and specific, or we can buy them ready to eat, but they will cost more money because they are made with healthier, more expensive ingredients. This is the only way you'll still be able to enjoy those guilty pleasures and still be seeing the results that you want to see. Let's talk about something most of us overlook and explain how it can, all from under the table, destroy your progress. Your progress will be destroyed if you don't learn this simple little equation. Stress raises your cortisol levels. Cortisol raises blood sugar. Can you imagine staying away from eating not even 1 gram of sugar? But then you're stressed, you're not getting enough sleep, whatever it is, and your body starts to produce glucose into the blood. That may be enough to kick you out of ketosis. Like, I really wanted to name this tip, get rid of stress. But if there was a way for you to attack me from the screen, you would, especially if you're having like you're having your first baby, you're having a toddler, even having some very important exam. There are a lot of things that we go through in life that inevitably make us more stressed. I'm not saying we eliminate those or eliminate stress once and for all. I'm just saying that we can do some things that can reduce that stress mitigate the effects of it on our diets and on our lives. These include getting enough sleep, either more sleep or more quality sleep, which you will be shocked how of a difference it makes. Reduce our caffeine intake. Caffeine is also going to raise the cortisol and do all these stuff we talked about. We can just have some time for ourselves. Make sure we have time for ourselves at the end of the day. Sit down, do the things we love. Like even if it's just 20 minutes, half an hour every day, we're just unwinding. You won't believe the difference it will make until you try it. But this hour can really make a difference. 2 cups of coffee less can really make a difference. 1 hour more of sleep can really make a difference. Preparing your sleeping environment to be better, to be more quiet, to be darker in the night can really make a difference. I have promised you 3 tips that are very special. We have talked about 2, and I think you might be a little lost on which 2 those were, because they're all special and great tips that I've given you throughout this day. But I have promised 1 more, and I'm going to give you 2 instead. The next 2 are really special. Now the first, I'm not being salesy, but there is an article that I have written on the blog, MasterMindingPerfection.com. The article is called 9 Reasons Keto is Hard and 20 Things We Can Do to Make It Easier. Now these 20 tips are as special as the ones you heard today. This will take less than 5 minutes of your time. If you're just going through the titles, it will take like 10 seconds. If you feel like you know everything that's said there, leave the article, but I'm sure you'll find things that will make the journey way easier for you. So we have come to the final tip. The final tip of the day, I'm not gonna say the keto ratios, like it's 70, 25, and then 5. So it's nothing new. But the thing that's new is that you should aim every meal of your day to be with those ratios. I'm not telling you to get obsessed with every gram and a half or calorie and a half that you're consuming, but you have to know the general picture. You can't have all the carbs at the beginning of the day, for example, and then be hungry and tired throughout the day. You have to try and memorize those 70, 25, and 5 so that you know every meal what it should consist of. Don't obsess over it, but just the general idea should be there, so you will have a smoother day and a day that is just a lot more productive because you're comfortable throughout the day a lot more than you would have been if you would have eaten all the protein in one meal or all the carbs. This really can mess up your day. You'll not understand how bad this is until you try it, but I don't want you to try it because you'll hate it. So just listen to me when I tell you, have those ratios this way throughout the day. Like I might have ignored my own advice of not drinking too much coffee today, but it was worth it. I think this has been a really good video. I would give it a like if I could. I can. Why can't I? I can and I will. If you did appreciate it as well, you too can give it a like, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the bell to get notified when I post all my future videos. Thank you for listening today. I really appreciate you being here until the end, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.